Welcome back to Turning the Key to Real Estate. I'm your host, Nicholas Feagley.
And Heather Petrone-Shook.
Well, everybody, we are back for another great episode, and today I was able to get my hands on Marki Lemon's Row. How are you?
I am outstanding, and you did get your hands on me. You got your hands
did.
all over me.
I did. Barb, how are you? We have a special co-host.
I'm doing fabulous.
Awesome. And then we have our forever co-host, my bestie, Miss Heather.
Hey, everybody. Barbie, you liking the massage chair?
I didn't turn it on.
I need a fan, though.
Yeah, a fan.
The AC is out. It's bad. Yeah, I'm sweating. Under the lights and everything. This is bad.
Just call it listening.
Sure, we can go with that. So, Marki, you are a force. I knew of you because of Triple Play 2023. And Barb, Heather, and I wanted to come see you. First room was packed, so we couldn't. And then you were actually not on the schedule again, yet they had you on the schedule again. So we were very heartbroken when we
went to a meeting that didn't happen.
They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look at the app right here. She's in this room. Where is she? Then I went to HannahCon, which is the broker that I'm a part of, Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, in Orlando, Florida. And I went down because of one of my other best friends, Eleni Summershield, the COO of Wise Agent, who's been on here a couple times with us, guys. And she was like, you've got to come see Marki. And I'm like, why is that name familiar? And she pulls up on the app. I'm like, run, like before the room's full. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So I got to see you speak, and it was amazing. So
thank you.
Tell us about yourself.
So I am a proud Chicago 5th generation entrepreneur who birthed a 6th generation entrepreneur. I was born this way. Like, I really have empathy for my parents the older I get, because I was something else. Okay. I'm the child who received a check mark and failure to exercise self-control every single quarter of grammar school and high school. And if they could have given it to me in college, they would have. And I look back at my first grade class photo. Mind you, we integrated, me and my family, we integrated this suburb of Peoria. We're the only Black family in our condo subdivision. I'm the only little Black girl that attended the grammar school. And I bring my class photo home. I have my hand on my hip, and I'm leaning up against the little boy named Jimmy. And my daddy says to me, you're going to be the only little Black girl and can't stand up straight, right? And so that kind of tells you what they've been having to deal with. I was born this way. But one thing that I am grateful for is because my parents were teen parents, they allowed me a lot of grace, maybe because they just simply might not have known any better. You know, like, I had to be honest, and my mother had some rules and regulations, but pretty much they were my cheerleaders. They were there for it, and they was, go Marki, go, right? Give them hell. And that's kind of how I was raised. And so I was always supported and being my true authentic self. And what my teachers didn't know, who did not support my talking, was that one day I would be a keynote speaker. Mm-hmm. So I get to laugh consistently that I get paid to talk.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's the biggest FU.
It is. Every time. Every time. It is, you know, and then you remember the negative, snotty teacher who wanted everything to be pristine in their own little way. And I get to laugh. Like, yeah, you had no idea. Like, you could have cultivated this, and I could have been elated to claim you as my teacher. But no, you never had a nice thing to say to me. So, you know, I don't mention you.
I feel you. I absolutely feel you. my parent teacher conversations always started out with, she's such a nice child.
We're not gonna go with what my parents went through.
I'm thinking I got hope for mine.
Have hope for them.
I
Have hope.
for 'em.
We're not gonna go through her last parent teacher conference.
No,
Not on air, at least.
no.
So Marki, where do you just speak to realtors? Do who do you speak to?
So I actually speak to entrepreneurs, but I focus on realtors. I was born and raised in the hospitality business. My family owns Chicago's, I would say, most productive barbecue restaurant. We've sold more pork rib tips than anyone else. And my grandfather's been inducted into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. And so going back, my undergrad degree is in hospitality management, master's degree in business administration, and I've been teaching on the collegiate level since the age of 25. And so for me, it's about entrepreneurship. It's just that I am a realtor. And so because I'm a realtor and I understand, I think our industry almost like the back of my hand, then it is where I have definitely focused my attention. I will say though, this year, because of artificial intelligence, we are now doing workplace training because of the amount of jobs that will be lost due to AI efficiency. And there's a lot of opportunity in workplace training for those who are AI shy or AI inefficient in order to leverage that tool in order to boost their productivity and meet the strategic plans of the organizations for which they work for.
Ooh, I want to hear more about that.
So I'm really glad that you brought AI up and the fact that it is going to do away with some people's jobs. My question to you would be, so I'm very big technology. I do a lot of stuff, not only with AI, but CRMs and apps and you name it. I've got so much technology in how I do my business. And it's actually been said that, how was it worded? I am basically that I was less to my clients than what this other individual was because they do it all manually.
They're stupid.
Oh.
I don't even know who the person is. That's the highest level of stupidity and inefficiency I've ever heard, and they will have to work harder for every single dime they earn. But keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, oh no, I was getting there, and I'm glad you said it, not me, because I'm sure she'll listen. But what would you say is the time frame you can see that they end up either fizzling out, the ones that are scared of the technology, because that's what it is. It's just being scared to embrace. I mean, how many years ago was it people were scared to embrace email and that it wasn't going to happen, or
AOL.
MLS book went away and everything's going to be on the internet and the sky is falling. I mean, let's be honest, we have change all the time.
It's
but
just a fad.
it's just the internet, the next pet rock. So what do you think? If you were to have a guess, would you say, 10 years that AI is really going to have a stronger presence or in technology, or is it, 15, 20, or is it 2?
I'm gonna go with 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
We'll have a stronger presence. But here's what's quite interesting about everything here, right? The fact that we are business owners and the fact that every Fortune 500 company has AI. So I wrote a new program the other day. We're actually doing it tonight. And I went through Zoom and all of the AI that's in Zoom. And then I looked at Fireflies and all the AI that's in Fireflies. And then I looked at repurpose.io. And anytime that you can syndicate, share, repurpose content, that is likely artificial intelligence, right? So AI is in every tool that essentially we use that has internet capabilities because those tools want to be more efficient. But let's think about this. We're members of a local association, a state association, and a national association. Each of those associations has key stakeholders. The key stakeholders every single year are reviewing the budget. We want to know about efficiency, right? That means that as practitioners, we don't have these same stakeholders. But if we did, they would want us to be what? Efficient.
Yep.
And so when we're looking at these tools, they're here. But right now, the numbers historically in most industries is that 20%, well, 80% of the business is done by 20% of the people. The recent numbers are saying that in the world of real estate, 90% of the business is being conducted by 10% of the agents. That means we have a bunch of non-productive, do not earn money. This is the side hustle job of
They do one a year.
90% of the industry. It doesn't matter whether they're productive or not, because this is not how they pay their bills. So it's like having a sense of belonging, right? And here's what else is interesting. Most of them will remain members and want MLS access because they weren't being compensated anyway. The cooperating compensation is of no value to 90% of people who are not doing real estate anyway.
Yep.
They want that portal to see what is available first. If they're not doing business, what they care about cooperating compensation. And here's what I thought about the other day, right? Why everybody on the internet crying. I look at cooperating compensation if you decide that you like said property and we getting ready to write an offer. And here's why. Have you seen the cooperating compensation change before in the MLS?
Yes.
Yes. Hey, you definitely have seen it change, right? So what it is means nothing to me until we've gone on 55 showings, right? And now you tell me this is it. This is the house. I want to write an offer. And then I'm only checking really the cooperating compensation and highlighting it because I want to make sure when we get to the closing table, it was what the MLS had said. So we do all this work and we look at that number for real, once we get ready to send over a contract.
Yep.
So
We
with
look at
our
it before.
we look at our MLS when it locks in. So we're just like, okay, this is what it is. And we pre-negotiated with the buyer in advance. We've had that conversation. I mean, we've had buyer agency and PA since 1999.
Say it again.
Buyer agencies in PA since 1999.
You've had mandated
yes,
per licensing rules and regulations, buyer representation agreements for 25 years.
So we've had buyer representation for 25 years. To my knowledge, it's not a state mandate.
Mandate.
Yeah, it's not state mandate, but we've had buyer representation.
And the good news is there are a lot of brokerages that do mandated. I know mine.
Correct.
If I don't have that
Oh, it's an E&O nightmare.
Process it.
Yeah, it's an E&O nightmare.
One of back in Chicago, when I came in as a loan originator and then came over to this side of the business full time in 2004. I remember a young lady, she was a top producer, 2004. Her managing broker owned a franchise on 95th Street here in Chicago. Her managing broker, who has since passed away, mandated 2004 that if you worked for her, you had to get a signed buyer representation agreement. Every last one of her agents implemented a signed buyer representation agreement.
Yep. Marki, I have been preaching this because we have continuing education in Pennsylvania every 2 years, odd years. And we're actually coming up on a recycling period with May 31st here. I have been preaching this for decades. Why do we have a listing presentation and we don't have a buyer representation?
Oh, we
Why
gotta
are people
have one.
scared?
Some of
Why
us
are people
do.
scared?
Some of us do.
Some of us do. You are correct. But a majority, unfortunately, you take that 10% of Marki's 90% and that 10%, 90% of the 10% did not have it.
It was funny. I had an open house this weekend and my regional sales manager came to it all the way from Philly. And he walked in, he starts looking at all my stuff. His wife is with him. He took my buyer agency or my buyer presentation, handed it to her, and she goes, I've never seen one of these before.
And that's one of the
Wow.
things.
Sorry.
So we're ahead of the game in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
Marki. But what are you seeing out there with the other states that this was a shock?
So 13 states have had buyer representation agreements, right? With levels of enforcement. Okay. I will tell you the other 37 states and even some in the 13 states, right? Just because you have it as a rule doesn't, we all know everybody does not follow the rules. Let's do that part. Okay. So the other 37 states is in total shock. Now, this is my mentality. I'm concentrating on solutions, not on the problem. So the first thing, I'm in a state that does not. Agency in my state can be express and or implied with no mandated. Do we have a buyer representation agreement? Yes. Is it mandated? No. Okay. So my first thought process was if 13 states can do it, I can do it too. There's no way I'm going to let 13 states outperform me. Okay, because that means they figured it out. 3 other things that I thought about besides the 13 states. If you are a commercial real estate practitioner, a lot of them are not realtor members, nor do they have access to the MLS. That means that they've been doing their business successfully with letters of intent. Think like a commercial real estate practitioner. The second one is we have CIPS, Certified International Property Specialists, who do real estate globally. A lot of places that they practice real estate, one, there's no licensing rules and regulations, nor is there organized real estate, nor is there MLS. And what do? They get them a buyer representation agreement. I actually had to go pull this paperwork today. The third thing, there is an employer EAH, employer assisted housing program, where each of us can work with any business to set up a down payment assistance closing cost program for their employees that they can give to their employees in the form of a forgivable grant. So in my mind, I want to practice real estate like the 13 states are practicing real estate, or the commercial real estate practitioner, or the global real estate practitioner. And if those 3 options fail, now I can set up an employer assisted housing program. So I am very concerned by the lack of creativity, right, that is coming from entrepreneurs, because at the end of the day, we're all gainfully self-employed if we are independent contractors. We happen to be members of a trade organization that is the largest bipartisan PAC lobbying for private home ownership rights, but they don't owe me anything, right? They're not responsible for our business. And truth be told, the reason they were sued is because they have the deepest pockets. Why they didn't come back to us when I'm going back looking at my license rules and regulations that have told me not to do what it is that we being sued for. Every state license and rules, right, prohibit the actions in which we are being sued for. They went after the deepest pockets. So I'm not gonna let Pennsylvania outshine me in Illinois, right? Like, hey, y'all cold and all that. But if you cold, I can be cold. That's how I look at it. So if you figured it out, guess what I need to do? If I'm because you're with a company that has offices in multiple states, right? So all of those states don't have the same rules that you have in your state. My thought process is I need to befriend people in the states that have already implemented these rules to hey, especially if you with the same organization, what are you doing? How is that working for you? What's your strategy? Can you please share some information with me? That's my thought process.
It would be called collaboration. And I don't think that's a word a lot of realtors know.
And that's one of the things where it gets into, my stuff, your stuff. I don't want you to beat out, but
correct.
When
I don't
across state lines, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, for sure.
Story.
So
sharing and collaborating. Even
I believe in collaboration.
I collaborate. I believe
Yeah.
I collaborate in my own state, in my own area. I've got no problem with that. But some people,
I said some.
I know. I was just saying some people.
I'm the one who says the
amazing.
shocking thing. So
okay, it's okay.
So
oh Lord.
Marki, you talked really briefly on AI 3 to 5 years. What do you think real estate agents and realtors are lacking with and or missing out on getting AI into their business now?
Ooh, setting up the systems to put them in the position to earn more money long term, to be able to fund their medical expenses and their retirement accounts. So to give you, even before AI, before AI, I've been using technology since 2006. So I'm not an early adapter of technology. I'm an early adapter of social media. Okay. I'm an early adapter of AI, but I have lipedema, which is a fat disorder, and it creates fat nodules that will make you immobile over time. I was diagnosed with this at the age of 51. Okay. So one, I believe the medical system.
You are not 51.
Well, I'm 50, I'm 53, I'll be
No,
54, but
there's
at
no
the
way.
age of 51, right, I was diagnosed. So,
There's
but
no
get
way.
this. Yeah, I am. So I take 94 days of paid time off. I had 3 surgeries over a 65-day period of time.
Wow.
Why? How could I do that? It is because I run a business. I pay myself through Gusto. The company still had money to be able to pay me paid time off while I was off for 94 days. So AI and technology gives us the financial ability to be able to have systems to take time off to take care of us. Now, I'm looking at, the average age of a realtor is 53. I know what deferred maintenance looks like. I know what deferred maintenance walks like because I'm just telling you what's the truth, right? So I know who need a knee replacement, a hip replacement. I could tell you who is sick. I know who has missing eyebrows. I can tell you who has cancer, whether they telling us or not. Okay, because I am observant. I watch people, right? Well, if we don't have systems in place, we can't take off to take care of ourselves. But most of us don't have the financial ability to do so. So when you said what the person said earlier about you cheating, right? Earning the least amount of money per hour for your time is ridiculous when you don't have great medical insurance and a retirement account.
Yeah.
That is
It's
so
utterly
true.
ridiculous.
Mhm.
Now, you don't have
So
to
true.
retire because you just love this occupation. Okay. I'm not promoting retire, right? I am promoting be financially eligible to retire in case that day comes. Like I live in Chicago. It's snow on the ground 6 months out of the year, contingent upon the year, right? I might not want to have to clean my car off at 65, right? I might just want to say, leave the damn car sit there, right? I want to have the financial ability to be able to do that,
Mhm.
to not put on no long johns, to not put on the long coat, to not layer my clothes. And when we age, everything is more expensive, right?
Oh yeah.
My teeth aren't still straight at 53 without an
Sure.
additional expense. It's called an Invisalign because we grind our teeth and they start to spread. So every night from now until the day I die, I got to have a retainer. Them things cost money. You got to change them out every 3 months. My teeth didn't cost this much 20 years ago. I can't see bupkis. Why? These glasses got bifocals in it. At the moment you add a bifocal, the cost of your glasses are going to double. Your skin. I didn't have to use vitamin C, and we didn't have retinol and SPF, and you got to use the high good one, right? All of this costs more money, right? It's
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. Listen, I'm leaving my washboard head because I don't have washboard abs. So.
well, let me just be clear. And there's this thing called Botox, right? Oh, every 6 months I'm going to up, right? On both. So all of this costs more money. And you don't think you should use AI to implement systems in
Help
order
you
for
out,
you to
man.
earn more money per hour and reduce your cost per transaction is
Yep.
not very business-like.
Hmm. Well, I think that there's still a lot of individuals that look at this more as a career and not as a business. I would say. I personally feel that way.
It's like running a fishing boat with one pole instead of a net,
Well, I mean, I don't think
right?
I don't even think some of them,
Work. That's so much dang work.
I don't think some of them even have the poll, let's be honest.
Oh Lord.
Some
Be
of them
nice,
don't
Stephanie.
have the pole. So it's your tools, right? These are business tools to be more efficient in your business. And I'm gonna say this since people probably mad at us right now anyway. Let's not even talk about the fact that we are reducing, get this, we're reducing our taxable income to reduce our tax burden. And some people don't even pay into Social Security. Now, not that a Social Security check is going to do a whole lot, okay? But I can tell you right now, based on what they told me I'm going to make, it'll definitely cover me a new car the insurance on the new car. I think I can get my cable bill and my light bill. Let's take the cable off. That might not work. I can get the light bill because the cable bill is expensive, right? So
Mhm.
I know that for life, I can keep me a new car, fully insured, my light bill paid, and maybe another bill, but I don't know if the cable bill gonna work inside of there because I'm gonna get that Social Security check because I didn't try to reduce my income down to zero so I wouldn't have any tax liability.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
Yes, it's a business. This is a business. AI is a business tool for those who want to be more productive, generate more leads, and earn more money.
Correct. And it also adds a layer of protection to where when you're either running shorter time or you want to spend time with your family, knowing that it's there running and doing some things for you really does help. It really does.
It does.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think, yeah, you talk about business tools, and there's other businesses out there that are slow to embrace AI as well. Like this really is, we're at the forefront, and we should be taking a look at how do we leverage this across the board. And I think other businesses in other sectors are slow to embrace this as well.
So what was those numbers? I think it was 45% of all people, I think you said, was using AI, correct?
So 15% of Americans,
15% of Americans.
the number one age bracket that uses it, 65% of users are between 18 and 34.
Wow.
Now, that they didn't say under 18 because they're not supposed to have an account under 18. But I can tell you, I got a 17-year-old who got an account. Him and all his buddies has an account. So that number's a little skewed because it said 18 to 34.
Uh-huh.
The average age of a realtor is 53, 5%.
5% of realtors are using the tool, the AI tool that could be helping them greatly.
They're still trying to figure out how to program the clock on the VCR.
Who?
Oh,
Me?
hey now.
I don't even know what a VCR is.
They still got those in houses? Wow. Yeah, so yeah, for me it's the good old Google, right? We have real conversations over here, me and Google. I don't think, but let me kind of come back for a second. There is a lot of myths, I would say, within our industry. And it starts with the fact that people believe that the pre-license course is going to teach you how to sell real estate. It does not. A lot of people come into this industry. This is our second, third, fourth occupation. If our previous occupation did not teach us technology, we're going to be behind. Upon entering into an industry that we believe that the pre-license course was going to teach us how to sell real estate. So we don't know how to sell real estate, and we don't know how to leverage the MLS, all the tools in the MLS, all of the technology, the customer relationship management system, and third-party tools that are integrated into the portals of the companies in which we work for, plus all the standalone tools we might think that we need. And so people honestly believe that they can come into this business, take the pre-license course, they will learn how to sell real estate, and they don't have to embrace technology. That's their belief.
And I think you have a book that's with the Social Selling Journal, which will help. I mean, that's a good word. That's a good place to start. That's a good place to start, especially if you're someone who's afraid of social media. You're not 100% sure, because I think it's a day by day, on or offline, right, situation.
Yep.
And
day by day.
And the next thing I think people need
shape.
to understand when it comes to social media is not all content is meant for every single platform.
That's true.
The things you're going to be posting on Facebook are probably and should not be the same exact things you're posting on LinkedIn or on I can't believe the words are coming out of my mouth, TikTok. I still can't.
I only have 7 followers, so I can't even put a video up.
I don't even have an account. I took my Snapchat account down, my TikTok account down, my Twitter account down, my Clubhouse account down, and then I never signed up for Threads.
Now I feel like I need I need those two just so I can say I had them and now I don't.
You don't need them now.
I don't even know what thread is. Like,
yeah,
I don't
you know
know
what you
either.
use to put in a needle? Like,
yeah. It was it's a tool of Meta that they brought out via Instagram that actually was the
Oh.
fastest growing tool in the history of the internet because it grew faster than Chat GPT. But it's also the tool with the fastest decline in the history of the internet.
oh, so it was the pet rock.
Mm.
Yeah. So I mean it because basically anybody who logged into Instagram was getting this join threads. And now it's hard for them to be able to disconnect it because they would have to essentially delete their Instagram account. So yeah, it's that tool.
Oh,
Mm.
I'm glad I don't have it.
Yeah.
So, Mark,
Yeah,
you
you did.
to say is a great tool using AI that really helps sellers out. So, I take on a new listing, tools that I use that are AI generated to help them, to help me get their house sold. What would you say would be one that you would recommend for somebody who's not currently using AI?
Oh, I'm going to go back to Chat GPT. And the reason I'm going to go to Chat GPT, it still goes back to the foundation of your ability to prompt, right? Providing it, and you don't even have to provide it with written instructions. You can provide it with oral instructions, and it'll do audio to text, right? In order to generate whatever it is that you want. Now, I do spend $20 a month. So I have the pro version of Chat GPT plus, whichever one you want to call it. But that means that I have 3 million plus custom GPTs inside of Chat GPT that someone has taken it upon themselves to give it additional instructions. So one of the tools that I recommend that people use, especially if they want to do expired campaigns, right? I don't even though I'm in sales and I'm clear that sales is my job, I like to provide an item of value before I ask for business. Period. I want to give you something of value before I ask for your business. So there's a tool called the Home Style Advisor. And the way I would recommend people to use it in a campaign format is every single day we have expireds, right, in our MLSs. So one day I looked at my MLS and in the area I would target, there were 6 expired properties. 2 of those properties only had 1 photo. One property had about 20 photos, but the property was not staged. So of the 6, there were 3 viable properties that I could provide an item of value to those sellers. So with the Home Style Advisor, I can load a photo and it will give me staging recommendations based on that photo. The next thing is I can ask it to generate a new photo with the staged recommendations. So tomorrow you get up, you look in your MLS, you see it's 10 expired properties, you know that 5 they have they have not adequately marketed said property. They don't have enough pictures. The pictures are horrible. They need staging. I could then take that picture. Now, those pictures in the MLS are copyrighted, so you cannot publicly share those pictures, but you can definitely leverage them to get staging recommendations, and you can create the after photo, right, with all of these new modifications. And so not only do I have content that I can share online, but now I have something special that I could send back to those expired homeowners saying, hey, I see that your property was expired. Here at my company, we have an aggressive marketing strategy, and I have some staging recommendations and what that would look like. And you're visually showing them the difference with the checklist. And that content was created in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
So Chat GPT and one of the 3 million plus custom GPTs, I'm gonna give you one other utilization. So my son is a second generation real estate professional. He leverages a lot of AI because he was born and raised with technology. So this past weekend, he did a open house. He had an ice cream truck come, but he took a page. Yep, ice cream truck. He took a page. He took the rendering of the house and turned it into coloring book pages because it's a very family-oriented community, had a box of crayons and invited the community out for the children to come and get the rendering coloring page of the property that he was hosting the open house, and said, make it a family affair. You can do that with AI.
That is absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
See, so not just putting yourself in photos in AI, you actually could use it, Nicholas.
You can use the property to either create a coloring book, coloring sheet, to create a children's book. So if you dominate a community and there's certain style houses, you could go take those photos and turn them into a children's book and tell the story and give the mathematical calculation of what it costs to live in that community. Now, the reason I know that is because I volunteered a lot at my children's school. And when my oldest son was in high school, I would come in and teach them financially how to buy a house. So, where do you want to live? And they would tell me, I was like, you know how much those houses cost? And they'd say, oh, let's say $1.5 million. No, $1.2 million. And I'd say, you do know that in order to buy a $1.2 million house, you can afford a house at 2.5 times your gross annual income. You have to earn $500,000. What are you going to do for a living? And we would reverse engineer the math, right, on what they have to do now to make the amount of money to live in the house that they said that they want to live in.
Yeah, that's cute. That's really cute.
So different things like that. But I know that from volunteering in Chicago public schools.
Yeah. Awesome.
Nicholas is already putting together a coloring book in his head, I can tell.
Oh, fucking right I am.
Yes.
And of course it's going to be of me.
No, Aries.
And Aries.
And Aries.
Oh, and then you could ask them, what color do you want your hair to be?
I
Right?
know. I do different colors.
I know. See there? Have a lot of fun with it.
Well, Marki, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us. I definitely want to have you back.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And definitely would love to come back and spend time with you.
Awesome. All right.
Thanks, Marki.
Thank
You guys have a great evening. Well, everybody, that was another episode of Turning the Key to Real Estate. I am your host, Nicholas Feagley.
And Heather Petrone-Shook.
Don't forget to like, follow, share for more great content like this today.